Hello guys, how you doing? This is my first tank review. It's about the Churchill free UDSSR premium tank. Well, first of all, a little bit of history. Well, this tank is actually the first big improvement to the Churchill 1 tank. It had a new turret, which was better, and it had a new gun. The 6-pounder gun we're going to come to later. This is a Lend-Lease version for the Russian army. So they got 301 tanks. A few of them got lost while they were transported to Murmansk via sea. So via ship, obviously. Yeah, in World of Tanks, this is a tier 5 premium heavy tank. And you think, well, why don't they put this tank into the British tech tree? First of all, because it's a Lend-Lease tank. And secondary, because when this tank was released, this branch wasn't even existing. So there was no place in that. And I think it's pretty good here where it is. So, yeah. Is this thing good? I think there is no answer to this is good. I mean, every tank is kind of in some ways good, some ways bad. So, yeah. At least the stats say it's mostly good. Oh, we can see. So, 700 hit points. This is more than the KV-1 has. So, that's pretty good. Its weight, well, 40 tons, is pretty much for tier 5. And yes, that is showing up the top speed and the traverse speed. I mean, it's not even 10 pounds, 10 pounds obviously, 10 horsepower per ton. And that's pretty bad. So it's a pretty slow tank, but it's a Churchill. Who does think that thing would be fast? You're not buying a Churchill if you want a fast tank. So, the armor. The turret is, oh, it's okay, with 88mm at the front and the side and 76 at the rear. But this thing is really good at its hull armor. The frontal hull armor is 176mm on the thickest point, which is something about here. And this thing is very good sloped. I mean, yeah, it's got a lower glazes, but even that is sloped pretty good. The side, 76mm, not that much, but if you kind of angle it like that, it's pretty much bouncy. And it's got so big tracks, they like to eat up every shot. That's pretty cool, actually. Even if you shoot here, something like here are going the tracks, and everything that hits them is hitting the tracks and not the tank itself. And the maximum damage it can do to you, it can track you. Or if it's got a really high power, then it maybe penetrates your tank from the side, and without just destroying the tracks. Sorry for some kind of wrong English, but I'm still German, so yeah. So the armor is pretty good. What does the gun say? Well, it's a 6-pounder gun, and it looks like, oh my god, this thing is so fucking tiny if you compare it to this one. And you'll probably be right, it is tiny. But where this thing has got alpha damage and penetration, this thing has got reload time, or hasn't got reload time. It's, if you got bars and arms, and if you've got a gun rammer, this thing is going on under, and ventilation, this thing is going on under 2 seconds reload time. So I'm something like 2.1 seconds with the momentary setup, or 2.2. I mean, that's still freaking fast, so I don't really need the gun rammer. But it's great to have one, if you've got the money. But I'm saving up my money for my mouse. So, this is the thing. It's great to have this thing against tier 4 and 5 tanks. At least against the most. But if you have this thing against tier 6 and 7, well, it sucks. I've got to drink something because I'm kind of I'm a bit cold and my... yeah. Sorry for that. So, the only tanks you definitely don't want to fight are T1 heavies in tier 5, obviously, are T1 heavies frontal, because you can penetrate them at the point where the armor is really flat, but everything that is sloped you're gonna bounce. Same as for the KV-1. It's hell fighting against them, because they just have so good armor. I mean, they have got problems penetrating you too, but they could do it much easier than you could do it. So, try to avoid KV-1s. At least everything else, every medium tank that thinks he can drive around you, well, no, he can't. You've got a turret traverse speed of 34 and the traverse speed of 20, you're gonna get around of him. mostly. Obviously there are differences. View range and signal range, well, it's okay, it's not great, but it's Russian, so it don't need signal range. It's Russian. Russians don't need signal range. So, crew skills, well, this tank was one of my, actually it was my first premium tank I ever bought. So I got no idea what to put on there. And actually, well, yeah, that shows up in what I choose. So, what I would do now is brothers in arms, just to keep the reload on a steady way. Or, which is never wrong, 6th sense, but I don't think you need 6th sense in a tank like this. Yeah, so, but it stays up to you, what you think. So, 6th sense and repair, or brothers in arms. Or, if you like something like this one, a very weird thing, like the best skill I found on the special trees each of them has, or the special abilities each of them has. So, I'm not really going to recommend this tank, but not because I don't like it. I mean, if you are somebody who plays like me, so likes things that are slow because they can't react that fast, even if they aren't that old, yeah, this tank is really right for you. But there are also guys of you, and I know that there are guys of you, that say, well, I need a tank that is fast to get around the enemy flank, something like that. It's not for you. But everybody who likes heavy tanks with pretty fast firing gun and don't need so much of penetration, go get one of these if you want to do something wrong. It's at 1,500 gold at the moment, and yeah, I like it. But enough sitting here. Let's see how this thing goes in combat. So, there we are in our first battle, and it's actually a battle you'll see pretty often. There are just a few tier 6 tanks, most of this is tier 5, and a few tier 4 tanks to just 2 in game, and both on our sides. Well, matchmaking, screw you, but that's a different story. So, Churchill 3 on action in Fisher Bay. I think it's Fisher Bay, I'm not sure. Fisherman's Bay. Mostly see these names in German. So, yeah. This is me playing, obviously. On that point, just greetings to the mighty Jingles, who's doing some kind of that tank reviews, and where I'm leaning on with that idea too. So, yeah, Churchill 3. We are going right in the city because it's, well, the gun is useless on the other side. We aren't a sniper, definitely not. This is kind of a close combat brawler. And you're gonna see what I mean in a few seconds. So I've got 2 replays for you. The first one is this one, and the second one is a bit different, or went out a bit different. But you'll see. So, I spot an ARL, which is a tank that can definitely penetrate my frontal armor with that, I think it's a 90mm gun what he has. At least it's a brutal thing, that's so much you can say. I'm just hoping to get the right tanks in their way, and there I see BDR, and he can also penetrate my frontal armor, I think, with his gun. I think it's 90mm or 75, I'm not pretty sure, but it's a pretty big gun. Actually drove this tank years ago. So, yeah, well, the first KV-1S was destroyed. Oh, I just think about the times where the KV-1S was tier 6 with its 122mm gun. That was brutal. That really was a brutal tank. I mean, you had platoons of 3 of them destroying an entire team. Yeah, I decided to turn around because I was thinking, well, there is nobody to protect that corner, and that second the AR is arriving, and I'm thinking just, oh my god, screw it, he's totally beating me up. But you see, I have to aim for the points where I can get through. If I would have shot on the frontal plate, yeah, that was lower glasses, and now I even bounced on the lower glasses on that angle. And it's pretty useless, because he's just one shot and that pretty much sucks. And now I realize that in front of myself there is a Churchill. But first of all, seeing a Chinokai, and that was a mistake, because now the ARL gave me a real big hit. But we could finish this one off by shooting in the turret, and so, oh, it wasn't a Churchill, it was a T1. I just saw tracks. But you see, the T1 bounced off our front, and I now definitely know I've got problems here, because, well, there are many people, but the T1 isn't the easiest opponent, because if you just see his front, you will have problems to penetrate him. And there I see the BDR is getting the L of fire now. He shot, I shot, and I even came through, and that was pretty lucky. He shot again. I'm driving him, and I'm bouncing. And you see, it wasn't even the flat point I bounced. It wasn't the slow point. It was the flat point I bounced. Like I said, no big penetration potential, but therefore it's firing fast. Now I'm gonna go down this ridgeline because, well, look at the enemy team. They've been pretty much destroyed. It's 9-7 for us to that point. And there is a Jagdpanzer IV. I guess that is how it's pronounced in German. Yeah, and I don't know why I've shot on that. It would never gonna penetrate it. Maybe you would have tracked him for a bit of luck. But I didn't. And that was the BDR, and that was a snapshot. But well, he hasn't got much armor. And he survives with 1 IP, and it goes down. It's a BDR. It doesn't got much armor. But I was pretty lucky he bounced because he could have killed me. So, I know there's the Jagdpanzer IV, but I'm not entirely sure if he drove somewhere else. The T-44 is down on the other end of the map, so I'm probably not gonna meet him up there. But I think, well, maybe if I reach for his ass, I'll get him, and then he reached for my ass. And that's not the best thing, and this is the point to notice that the T-44 destroyed my entire team that was chasing him. So now it's just me, a KV-1, our little scout, I think it's a Lux, and the Grille as our artillery. And yeah, he's definitely, you have to do that because he's seeing your frontal. And he bounces, and that was so lucky, because that probably cost his life. No, he isn't even bound. Well, yeah, he hit my tracks, you see it? He damaged my tracks. And that was what I mentioned in, when I first put off talking, that this tracks like to eat up every shot, because I would have been dead if he would have hit my tank and wouldn't have bounced. Maybe we can even see where he bounced. Yeah, here, on the frontal plate with the 176 mil, I'd probably think, armor. He bounced, because it's pretty, it would have been very unlogic if it would be the Jagdpanzer IV that bounced on the turret of that thing. So now there is no more things to do. I'm definitely not getting the T-34, but we are winning this thing. So let's head on to the next replay. So there we are, and you maybe already know this because I've posted this in my first Let's Play World of Tanks. So you're gonna see, and this is also a thing I've already mentioned that will gonna happen in this video. There is a Chinook. I saw him driving right around the ridgeline, and I'm noticing that there is another medium tank in the town, and there isn't anything more. At least the ELC couldn't scout more. So going for the M3 Lee, he hasn't got a shot, and then I see the Chinook, and he's doing something wrong because he stands there while I can shoot him, and this is lucky. I actually set him on fire, and it's probably his death, is it? Yes, it is. So, going ahead, still knowing that there is some kind of medium tank, I am stupid, so I forgot which tank it was. It was the M3 Lee, which is somewhere out there. The question is where. And there it is. And he, well, yeah, it's a tier 4 tank. Even if he's got a big guy, yes, he's gonna bounce. I'm in a pretty good ankle, and he's definitely not going to kill me. Yeah, no chance, my friend. And you're mine. So, that was the good time, the good thing. Now, we go over to bad times. Because I'm gonna find something around the corner I definitely don't want to find, and I've already called that. I called that out in the a little bit of talking before that fights. Well, KVs and this thing, they aren't friends. A KV is capable of destroying you from the front, definitely, if he sees a turret. And then, oh, there is a KV2. Well, you showed me a side, but I'm even bouncing on the side of the KV1. So, and this is where it starts. I mean, I've got no chance, actually. What should I do? My team is all on the island, and Yeah, now he's getting his front up to me. There are spots I can come through, but I have to have luck to hit them. Just like this maybe. And then even the artillery shoots on me. So, I just wanted to show you how hard it is to fight against KV-1s. You really have to have help by your team. You look at this, side of the turret. I mean, it was a little bit sloped, but well, nothing really. Yeah, and that's what I can say about the Churchill 3. So, if you like it, you decide. If you buy it, you decide. I like it very much, and I like to play it very much. So, yeah, I'm glad you hear it, and that was the first video of this thing. Like I said, the ideas on the mighty jingles is not mine. Leave a comment if you think it was good, or leave a comment if you think it was good, or if you've got some kind of advice I should change. So, see you next time.